Hi everyone, it is Jess here from the Reptile Look, and today we'll be talking about the beginning stages of getting a pet reptile. Like with any animal, there are steps that you should take before you even bring home an animal. So my goal is to be able to share some of those with you today. This is going to be a series, but just to give you those beginning stages of what getting a pet reptile should look like. Whether you already know which species of reptile you would like to get, or you're still not totally sure, the best place to start will always be research. If you don't already know what species of reptile you would like to keep, research is a great place to start because it can help you find the species that is best for you. If you do already know what species you'd like, then you already have a launching pad where you can really narrow in your search and just do research for that specific species instead of researching multiple species, like if you didn't know what species you would want. One of my personal favorite places to start my research is a website called reptiles.com, and that website has several different care guides for several different species, and the person behind the website, Mariah Healy, she does a really great job at giving you all the care requirements, and she also puts links to her sources, so this way you can further your research even beyond her care guides. This research stage really should never end. You should get to a point where you're comfortable enough to take the next step in getting an animal, but even as you proceed through the next steps of this series, you'll still want to continue to do research in case things are changing in husbandry care standards. When you're researching, you should never use just one source, so that's why it's important to expand your research, even when you are using a resource as great as Reptiles. Another place you can do research is Google Scholar. So you can look up scholarly articles or peer-reviewed articles that have been done centered around a certain species care. And another thing you can do as well is you can narrow your search a lot when you're looking for things on the internet. And one way you can narrow your search is by typing in the scientific name of the animal you're researching and not just the common name. For example, with, say, a bearded dragon, instead of typing in bearded dragon care guide on the internet, you would search up Pagona vidiceps care guide, and some more reputable sources are more likely to come up that way for you. So now you feel ready for the next step in getting your pet reptile. You've been researching for weeks, months, maybe even years, and you feel like you're ready to take that next step. The next thing you're going to do at this point is start to prepare your enclosure. While you were researching, you should have gotten things such as minimum enclosure size requirements, lighting, humidity, all of those different care requirements, substrate, decor, and now is the time to put that part of your research to use. You're going to get an appropriately sized enclosure. Bigger is always better, but it should be at least the recommended minimum size. And you're also going to get your proper substrate, your lighting, all of that. The first step of preparing your enclosure is to prepare the substrate. Now, you want to make sure that you are getting rid of any mites or anything that could be living in that substrate. And this is true with any loose substrate that you might be using. So this includes eco-earth, reptisoil, topsoil, sand, excavator clay, all of that. You're going to want to make sure it is nice and clean and ready to go for your animal. Now, this can be done one of two ways. You can even use both together. And the first option is freezing the substrate. And this will get rid of anything that is living in it. And another thing you could do is bake it in an oven. Now, whether you use one of these methods, both of these methods, will depend on the type of substrate that you are using. Now, when you first get your animal, chances are you're going to put them on just paper towel for the first several weeks or even few months. And the reason for this is quarantine, which we will go into in a later video, but usually people will use paper towel as the first substrate for their reptile, just to make sure everything looks good and healthy when you bring them in. Once you have your substrate, which again will likely be paper towels at first, but switch to something else, and you have your items for decor in there, then it is time to add, the rest of the items. So your food and water dishes, if you haven't done so already, your lighting, all of that is also going to get added before you even bring the reptile in. Through your research, you will have seen your temperature and your humidity requirements for your warm area, your cold area, your basking spot, all of the above. And you want to make sure that you are able to reach those levels before an animal goes into it. So you want to make sure that with the room that you're keeping the animal in, with the time of year, you're able to achieve those temperatures. And you're going to have to adjust that over time too. Seasonally, you're going to have to change it. If you move the animal into a different room later on, you're going to probably need to change it, things like that. If you move into a new home. So making sure you have this set up before the animal comes in so they go right into those optimal temperatures and humidity requirements, that is perfect. Now, I like to recommend making sure that it can sit and stay at the temperatures you want it to be at for about a month before you think about bringing an animal into that enclosure. For people who keep fish tanks, they often like to cycle their water before they put fish in, and you're basically doing the same thing with a dry reptile enclosure. You're going to be cycling it to make sure that you're keeping your proper humidity, your proper temperatures, making sure the basking area doesn't get too hot or too cold. This way, it's as good as it can be when that animal arrives. I hope this video helped if you're looking to get a new pet reptile. I hope you enjoyed. Please stay tuned for the rest of the videos in this series, and we'll see you on the next video.